My name's Kat Jones. I am 46, although I keep losing count. I love this format. The thing is that I'm really crap at a press interview. I'm really good at a personal chat. Stop Climate Chaos Scotland, I'm their COP26 project manager. I have been a member of a political party in the past, but I'm not at the moment. I moved here in 1997 to do my PhD. And I came from England. I lived all my life in England and I only ever visited Scotland once. And I came to Scotland and immediately I thought, gosh, this is a proper country all of its own. So I think I'd only been to Scotland once. And that's when, after my A levels, I think I took a sleeper train with a friend on a big adventure. And we spent a few days on Iona camping in a tent. And, aged 18, that was just a fantastic adventure for us. And I remember waking up on the sleeper on Rannoch Moor, was it?
It's shite being Scottish!
I can't remember where we got the sleeper to, but I just remember waking up in the middle of nowhere going, this is amazing. You can get on a train in busy London and the next thing you know, you're in this amazing, beautiful landscape. So that was my first experience. And then moving to Glasgow when I was about 22. Well, I suppose relatively good. I mean, I've got a family, I've got 2 teenagers, and it's been a fortunate time for us because I've had the opportunity to spend time with my teenage kids.
He's become a teenager
that I'd have never had before because, before COVID, they're pretty much out all the time, never saw them. We pretty much felt like they'd left home. They're 16 now and 18. But, during lockdown, we've kind of grown really close as a family, spent loads of time together and find that we actually get on, which was quite a surprise to me. It's just a glass of water because we're having this at 14:10. I can see from my clock. If it was something else, it would be a gin and tonic. I do enjoy a glass of wine or a gin and tonic, perhaps too much, but 4 times. I might have 4 times a week, 3. I know from going to Scandinavia that they sort of manage their relationship with alcohol a bit differently to us, that they do have, you can only get your wine at certain shops. And so they're very strict about that. And I have to say that I have tendencies towards a bit more libertarian sort of a view on this and feel like, you should be able to manage your own intake. Well, I will drink a whiskey if it's in company, in a special kind of company, not just like family at home. If it's like friends round a fire, a guitar has to be present and that kind of thing. I'm married to a Swiss. And so, of course, as soon as that happened, my whole life became really quite stressful with the thought of what was going to happen. Were they going to repatriate Rudy to his home country or something? And in fact, the day that the Brexit vote happened, I was in town. I went to Glasgow and there was somebody look at a map and I'm just like any other Glaswegian. Even though I don't sound like one, I am like a Glaswegian. I can't pass by a man with a map without saying, "Oh, do you need some help? Do you need to get somewhere?" And he said he was from Germany. Him and his wife, they're in their 60s, and he was looking for a place for his son to have a birthday party. Then he said to me, "Oh, so what do you think about this Brexit thing then?" And then I just burst out crying. I literally started sobbing, couldn't really speak, and my daughter just dragged me off. She just grabbed my arm. She was like, "Mum, come with me. Pull yourself together." COP26 is the biggest climate meeting that happens every year. All the world leaders go to COP26 and there's always discussions on what can we do to solve the climate crisis? So COP26 is happening for 2 weeks from the 2nd of November. And that's the date we expect Glasgow, if it all goes ahead as planned, to be filled with international activists, international world leaders, press, media, and everybody else who hangs on to these things. It being in Scotland is incredibly significant for us in civil society. I work for a civil society organisation, Stop Climate Chaos Scotland, and we're all about getting civil society groups like charities, grassroots groups, community groups, trade unions, faith groups, student groups, etc., to really campaign on climate. And this is this opportunity when all the world leaders are coming to Scotland, when we can really start to put sort of the leverage in to make things better for us in Scotland. There are other events that happen that are very, very important for world decision making that don't include civil society as well as COPs do. So if you're talking about G7, you're talking about like Davos and like World Economic Forum and all these places, there isn't a formal process for civil society to be involved. And therefore they do attract more protests looking to shut them down. Civil society wants these talks to go ahead. They want to be involved in them and they want to make a difference. So the protest generally has a different feel to it at a COP. It is about drawing attention to the issues, about putting a bit of urgency on some of the discussions, and it's less about shutting down the talks themselves. I'd encourage you to go to the Climate Fringe website, so that's climatefringe.org, and there's a section there called Get Involved, and there's lots of ideas and ways you can get involved. The first one, we are getting together loads of events that are happening between now and COP, and we've got them on the Climate Fringe website. Secondly, there's all sorts of ways of joining organising groups that we're organising around civil society coming to COP. So we're creating hubs for civil society to feel at home in, that we want to have there to be culture, we want it to be welcoming, we want it to have a real feeling of being kind of light and warmth in November for people coming to Glasgow. Also, we'd be looking for people to put up their spare rooms and their couches. You might have seen on the news recently that some ridiculous price gouging has taken place around hotels. So the official hotels are charging up to £12,000 or something for your 2-week stay. Well, we're totally going to undercut that by having it staying on couches. So check out our website. So obviously a normal COP would have up to 30,000 people coming to it, and many of those we're flying in, and all of them are staying in hotels and taking up doing other things that create lots of CO2, and so inevitably there's a huge amount of CO2 emitted from these events. However, the question is, can it happen without people travelling? Really, these discussions and these negotiations tend to happen in these sort of side rooms. Decisions and bilateral meetings are held, and it's really, really important that you've got that dynamic taking place, and there's a feeling that really they need to be there in person, because it's hard enough to get their voices across in the situation, let alone when it's all being done online. So 10 years down the road, where I want Scotland to be, well, I think Scotland's got huge potential in this. So 2030, so that's in 10 years time, the ambition is that we will have reduced climate emissions by 75% on 1990 levels. And that is one of the highest ambitions in the world. So that is a fantastic thing. If we do that, we'll have an amazing Scotland to live in 10 years' time. We'll have amazing opportunities for cycling that'll be safer for pedestrians. Our houses will be warmer and cheaper to heat, and there will be no fuel poverty. And, the opportunities are amazing, but are we actually grasping them now? And that's what I'm worried about. This was quite hard. I started thinking about I Like Birds by Eels. To their words, 'cause I like birds. Because not that I know very much of their songs, but that song particularly speaks to me, because I really, 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 really like birds. I actually would really prefer probably to have Karine Polwart singing Freedom Come All Ye in the Italian chapel. So come all ye, attain with freedom, never heed what the hoodies croak for do. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. I first heard it actually on the Make Poverty History March in in 2007 or whenever it was. I went to Edinburgh and I heard it played on the pipes, and I thought, that's such a rousing tune. That is an amazing tune, and it's an amazing vision of, I suppose, what Scotland could be and where we really could be in 10 years' time, perhaps, if we deal with some of these issues where climate interacts with social issues and racial issues and all the different inequalities that we've got, and health inequalities and difficulties. If we can sort all of that out together in a oneer, I feel that song is a really good sort of something to bring us all together.